Have you ever had anybody say to you, "You must have rocks in your head"? The next time you hear that, respond back, "Well, of course I do, and so do you." You see, we all have rocks in our head. These rocks are actually tiny little pebbles. They exist between the eardrum and the cochlear canals in a little jelly-filled sac that has lots of little tiny hairs in it sending signals to the brain. Now, what do these rocks do? Well, they exist in a fluid and they're free moving. So if you're moving forward and you suddenly stop, the rocks move forward and start to move those little hairs in front of you, sending a signal to your brain, telling the brain, oh, there's been a sudden stop. You can feel it even with your eyes shut. If you are going up in an elevator and the elevator suddenly stops, those rocks move upward, bumping against hairs, sending a signal to your brain, telling them, oh, we've been moving up and now we've stopped. If you move left, the rocks move left when you stop. So they are a critical part of your balance system. Now, doctors understand the intricacy of this system because there's diseases that affect the signal and the movement of those rocks. They start to malfunction when we're older. There's certain bacterial infections which can mess them up. At the point you become very dizzy and very unstable. It's part of the reason older people become unstable, in addition to the deterioration of their muscles. You see, how could that have happened? By mutational changes in chance. This system developed of the rocks, the hairs, the signal, the interpretation by the brain. It couldn't have happened a step at a time.
This is an appeal to personal incredulity. Something can't be explained, therefore it's explained by some other thing. Usually the complicated thing is explained by something relatively simple. It's also a bald assertion, something that is said without any merit to back it up.
You see, if your brain needed this and it wasn't getting the signal right, or the rocks weren't there, or they didn't move right, we would be constantly dizzy. Our life would be one of stumbling and dizziness instead of steadiness and understanding and balance. Evolution cannot explain systems that need multiple parts that all have to be there in order to function correctly.
This is a fractal error. Something said that's just wrong in every single way that it could be wrong. It's not true. Biological evolution does explain these things. But even if it didn't, then that would mean that this is nothing more than an appeal to personal incredulity again. In fact, it's kind of both. I don't know. It must be this other thing.
It's one of the many issues with evolution that can never be explained by slow, step-at-a-time, mutational, accidental changes to DNA. Creation does and can explain the phenomenal design of our bodies.
This is not true. Biological evolution does explain these things. As far as design explaining things, care to explain this design? You really want to call this design? Well, design, maybe, but bad design. We have figured out how to fix flaws in DNA. You can tell something is badly designed just by looking at it sometimes. For example, that sign there. It's supposed to read, "You matter, don't give up," but when you read it the way that you would normally read a sign, it says, "You don't matter, give up," and that's not a good statement. You do matter, don't give up, but also this, each and every one of these, if you're going to call them design, then at least call them badly designed.
And that design came from the supreme intelligence of Jesus Christ, our Creator.
That does not follow. Not even a little. How the bleep did you get to that from all of that? What the bleep?